from the podium, so I will reserve comment on that. Behind you, yes.
What is President Trump's expectations for talks today and I guess this week in Egypt? And is there a new timeline that the president is giving all sides to reach an agreement?
Yes, there are technical talks happening right now in Egypt amongst Special Envoy Witkoff and Mr. Kushner, as well as their respective parties from all sides. What we saw take place on Friday, and I have not commented on that from the podium yet, is truly remarkable. You've seen all sides of this conflict agree that this war needs to end and agree to the 20-point framework that President Trump proposed. It's an incredible achievement, and the administration is working very hard to move the ball forward as quickly as we can. The president wants to see a ceasefire. He wants to see the hostages released, and the technical teams are discussing that as we speak to ensure that the environment is perfect to release those hostages. They're going over the lists of both the Israeli hostages and also the political prisoners who will be released, and those talks are underway, and the president is very much on the ball and is being apprised of this situation.
A Sunday evening deadline. Obviously, the negotiations have extended that, I imagine. What is that new deadline? Does the president have a time frame in mind to see this phase implemented?
Well, the Sunday evening deadline was to hear back from Hamas on the proposal one way or another. And of course, on Friday, Hamas put out a very clear statement in the president's view that they accept the president's framework, and that's why those technical talks are now underway. But again, we want to move very quickly on this, and the president wants to see the hostages released as soon as possible. Steve.
How long do you expect those technical talks to last, Karoline?
I don't want to draw a red line up here, Steve. Of course, it's very important, as I just mentioned, that we get this done quickly. That's how the president's team feels, so we can get some momentum, get the hostages out, and then move to the next part of this, which is really ensuring that we can create a lasting and durable peace in Gaza, and ensure that Gaza is a place that no longer threatens the security of Israel or the United States.
What do you expect to be on the agenda for the president's meeting with the Prime Minister of Canada tomorrow?
I'm sure trade will be a topic of discussion tomorrow, and all of the other issues that are facing both Canada and the United States. I know the president looks forward to having that discussion with Carney in the Oval Office. Caitlin.
Thanks, Caroline. I have two questions. On the layoff of federal workers, potentially, the president said yesterday that Democrats will be to blame if federal workers lose their jobs. Historically, though, in past shutdowns, workers have been furloughed, but they have not been laid off en masse. So wouldn't that be the president's call to lay people off?
As I've said repeatedly, Caitlin, this conversation about layoffs would not be happening right now if the Democrats did not vote to shut the government down. And as I also said last briefing as well, we are $37 trillion in debt, and the government is not receiving any cash. So someone has to look at the balance sheet and be good stewards of the American taxpayer dollar. And layoffs are an unfortunate consequence of that.
First term, for example.
Well, as I'm telling you now, this administration is focusing on checking the balance sheet and ensuring we're doing the right thing by the American taxpayer. And again, these conversations about layoffs would not be happening in the White House today if not for the Democrat shutdown. And they have a choice to change that. They have another opportunity tonight to do the right thing to reopen the government. Joey.
Judge over the weekend. Sorry, my second question. A federal judge over the weekend that the president had appointed to the bench in his first term in office basically argued that he could not deploy other states' National Guards to Portland. Basically said that it was untethered, his argument, to what is actually happening on the ground. Which local officials in Portland have said that the National Guard is needed there?
With all due respect to that judge, I think her opinion is untethered in reality and in the law. The president is using his authority as Commander-in-Chief, U.S. Code 12406, which clearly states that the president has the right to call up the National Guard in cases where he deems it's appropriate. And if you look at what has happened in Portland, Oregon, for more than 100 nights, I was talking to our law enforcement team about it this morning, for more than 100 days, night after night after night, the ICE facility has been really under siege by these anarchists outside. They have been disrespecting law enforcement. They've been inciting violence. We saw, again, a guillotine rolled out in front of this federal building. And so the president wants to ensure that our federal buildings and our assets are protected. And that's exactly what he's trying to do. And ultimately, in the case in Los Angeles, that judge ruled in the Ninth Circuit, that panel of judges ruled that those troops could remain and that the president was well within his authority to do so. So we are appealing that decision. As you know, we expect a hearing on it pretty quickly, and we're very confident in the president's legal authority to do this, and we're very confident we will win on the merits of the law.
But no local officials that you can point to that have said we need the National Guard? Because I spoke to the police chief of Portland last week.